what really impressed me about Reggio, and probably Charlie can feel the same, or educators feel the same, was that Reggio see children in a different way. They see children, of course, as children, like we all do, beautiful little creature. But Reggio places them in a special place. Reggio thinks that children are citizen. And to be citizen, it's a huge concept, this one. I don't know, Mario, it's very difficult to translate. That means they have the right to have the education they need, not that we think they need. They have the right to participate. They have the right to contribute to the culture of the school, of the community, of the society. But also Reggio says, yes, your knowledge as teacher about child development is extremely important. But also as teachers, as educators, or as parents, we have to develop the capacity to look, to observe, to listen to our children. Because it is by looking at them, by observing them, by listening at them, that we understand how better to respond and implement, or to respond and intentionally move into the education. I'm going to give an example, a very simple one. It's very normal, children can't, be easily convinced. They are easily engaged in, let's have everybody the same activity right now. Sit down, hold your scissors, start to cut, and make a beautiful lion mask, because we are working on animals. Of course, by following being inspired to Reggio Emilia principle, I don't say, no, don't do that. But I would say it's that the aim of education, to have the children to be obedient, to be seated, and all doing the same kind of activity for a finalized product that is only on the teacher head. By following, the Reggio Emilia approach, by following the principle. So Reggio doesn't tell you how to do necessarily and what to do necessarily. Reggio simply is to understand the principle that underpin the pedagogy. So underpinning the principle means, again, to have a very clear the aim of the education and what you want to achieve within the respect of the children you have in front of you. Where are their interests? To perceive how they are dealing with a concept, how they are interacting with the environment, how they are interacting among themselves. So again, if our aims is to build, on children culture, unique culture, through conversations, through participation, through understanding the true interest and the true needs. In order to achieve that, therefore, as an educator, I had to take away any form of rigid planning. I had to take away any form of pre-planned curriculum. So that doesn't mean to go into a classroom or to start a new year with absolutely no ideas. Opposite, as educator, I am called to be much more thoughtful, much more organized, much more sensitive than before. So one thing, for example, as Reggio Emilia inspire all of us, is to prepare environment, physical environment that are rich with materials, rich with resources that sometimes are not usually seen in normal preschool environment. So the choice of material, the choice of tools, the choice of display are extremely important in the Reggio inspired environment. And this is especially important for young children that are not verbal yet. They don't speak yet. Or extremely important for children that do speak another language. For example, Japanese children and an English teacher, we can communicate right away, right? So material become extremely important. But those material, again, when I choose those material, it's because I'm triggering children interest. I'm trying to get closer to the children heart, okay? So I don't put just something because it's beautiful. I put something because I'm going to look for the interaction that will happen between the children and that material and that concept behind the material, all right? So everything is chosen in Reggio. There is a purpose. Depending on the material we choose. Now, this meeting is not about materials, but I'm looking for, again, provoking maybe children relationship. So I'm planning to use a certain material because I want the children to get closer to themselves, to get closer to me, and I want to trigger therefore relationships. Or I use material for starting perhaps to explore a topic and see what the children know, where they are going with their thinking. So again, it was very essential for me as a teacher to switch my way to work with children, not as a person to tell them what to do, but as a person to provide them the space and the tools and observe them in order to plan my next steps. Again, also in Reggio, the other thing is very important. It's not limited to Reggio. Nowadays in education, there is a big emphasis in play. Yes, children should play. And Reggio Emilia environments, or Reggio Emilia inspired environment, they allowed space and time for playing. Through play, children learn, and through play, children show us what they know. Conversations. So it is materials and resources. There is an environment that is based on play, environment that is based on dialogue, conversation, talking with the children, an environment with the teacher. It's facilitating all this, and it's observing. It's an environment that helps the children to develop many skills and competencies. And this is the ground of the possibilities. Not my possibility, not what just I want, but it's the possibility that we decide together with the children. Our things are emerging from this ground that it's open, that it's fluid, that is not constrained by schedule, that is not constrained by academic goals. It's a ground that is open to many possibilities of learning. Okay, so so at the beginning of the year, for example, when and I love to do it, it's to prepare an environment, thinking that my children could go into certain things, right? And you have to have a rich environment. You have several possibilities. So in that way, all the children are happy. They have choices. They can be personalized. They can move fluidly and freely in an environment where exploration is allowed. And by looking at the children, I can start to plan in a more intentional, responsive way the next activities or the next experiences.